welcome to my workshop. In today's video I've got for you a very interesting machine from Creality, the A1 laser. It's fully enclosed, it's got cameras and a lot more interesting features. So in today's video I'm going to take you through the process of assembling it, and tell you what, that's not going to take long, and then we'll go through some extensive testing to check out all the features and actually how it performs. So let's start. And as you can see, it's a fairly large box, but everything is packed here absolutely lovely, so there shouldn't be any damage to it during transportation. And there you go, very nice and sleek machine. And that's all. There's nothing else in the box itself. Everything is inside of this machine. Now before we actually see what's inside, let me just quickly give you a breakdown of the size of the machine. So the width, actually there's a stop emergency button, so I'm going to include that. It's about 59 centimeters, maybe 58.5 wide. At the back over here you also got the port for the fume extraction. I'm going to go through the parameter of this machine in just a second, but I just want to roughly measure it out so you know the size of it. With the handle we've got about 52 centimeters in depth. And where it comes to the height, we've got just about 21 centimeters. So as you would expect, obviously this will go up. Right in the middle you do have the camera to help you position and monitor everything inside. Plus you can actually toggle it on and off if you wanted to with that button there. But there's a very cool feature with this enclosure. Sometimes it's actually hard to put your material into enclosures of this type as the gantry is in the way or anything like that. So check this out. You can actually open it from the front as well. Now as we are checking out the quality overall of the body of this machine, straight away check that out. On the lip over here it's all covered with nice thick rubber material here with some magnets to make sure the lid itself will stay in place and it will seal the box entirely, so there won't be any leakage of fumes. In a similar way you do have that rubber on the front panel as well. Obviously later on in the video we'll check out if there is any leakage of fumes or not. Now let's unpack the rest and see what's hidden inside. You got your bits and pieces there, your power brick, quite nice and thick chunky manual. You actually do get your hose for the fume extraction. The machine comes also with an air pump, which is super important as that means the module supports air assist, which gives you a far better quality of cut and actually a small percentage on engraving as well. So that actually is super important that this machine supports that. You also get this piece of basswood and a card with some dots that will help us to actually set up the camera later on. And check out the inside of the machine. Right at the back, just over here, you've got the fan, the fume extraction system. That's the laser module over here. As you can see, the wires are neatly hidden away, so there's nothing in the way. The laser module I've got is 10 watts. Perfect for really nice and detailed engraving. However, it will have some capability of cutting as well. You've got two pins over here that when you undo, you can lower the module down to establish the correct focal point. And yeah, overall, very nice, good quality and feel to the whole machine. Now very quickly I'm going to show you all the size of this machine so you'll know where everything is. As you know, the front opens up and you can access your bed super easily. I think that's a brilliant addition to this machine. Now from the left hand side, nice and sleek, nothing on it. At the back we only have the fume port, and on the right hand side we've got all the ports, all the switches. So let me go through all of them. So first of all we've got the start switch, then the emergency button, so it's a great safety feature, and as standard when you receive the machine you need to release it, otherwise the machine will not turn on. Next you've got the on off switch, that's for the power lead, that's for the air pump, that's the lock for the machine itself, so if somebody doesn't have the key will not be able to use it. So again, another great safety feature there. So I've unlocked it now, and just above we've got the USB-C connection to your PC. or your laptop, depending on what you're going to be using. Then you've got the air inlet for the air pump, and you do get this hose to attach it quite easily. So there's nothing, everything's outside, okay? Everything's nicely outside for your convenience to plug everything in, and everything inside is fully sealed up. And then you can actually get a rotary kit for it as well. So let's connect everything up. Super easy to do. And there you go, the machine is more or less ready to use. How simple is that? Everything is assembled, just plug in all the wires, the air pump, make sure you've got your laptop or PC to actually run it, and that's it. You're ready to go. However, before we actually start, there's a couple of things we need to sort out just to make sure everything is in the right order. The main thing we need to check out if everything is working correctly on the gantry itself. Okay, to do that, you've got timing belts. Okay, you've got two belts here that moving the axis just over here, and another two belts at the back. So what you need to do is you need to check if the tension is correct. Okay, in my case they are fine. However, for example, in your case, if the belts were too tight or too loose, you can adjust the tension by these two bolts over here, okay? And then make sure that the correct tension is applied. The next thing you will have to do before actually starting engraving or cutting out is to set up the correct focal point for this laser module. And it's super easy to do that. First of all, you've got two pins that are locking the laser module in place. So to move it along, you just have to undo them. And you can shift your laser module up and down depending on what's the thickness of your material. With the machine you do get this handy block to actually establish the correct focal point for your machine. So you've got three levels, okay? One, the top one is for engraving and cutting thickness of 3 millimeters. Then the second one is cutting thickness 4 to 6 millimeters, and finally the bottom layer is for cutting over 6 millimeters. Using this is super simple. As you can see, we've got the nozzle just over there, so you need to place this on top of the material you're going to be engraving or cutting, just like so, and then lower down the module itself until it touches the plate. Lock it back in place. And that's it, your focal point is set up. What software you can use with this machine? Well, Falcon Design Space. That's the dedicated app that Creality have for this type of machines, for their lasers. And I have to say, it's quite decent. There's no issues with it. I'm going to talk you through how it looks like, and we're going to actually set up the camera in it. I'm going to show you that step by step. But also this machine will use a light burn without any issues, and it should work just fine with laser GRBL as well. Now, as I mentioned, this particular model does come with 10-watt module, and the work area, the engraving area, the maximum is 381 millimeters by 305 millimeters. So it's actually a little bit smaller than the open frame machines. So this machine is more compact and it's suited for those smaller spaces and smaller projects. Now, to set up the camera, which we're going to do in a second, you're going to need this card. Okay, it comes in the set itself, so that's what you're going to need, and you actually do have some instructions around the back to guide you through the whole process. Now, what I would also recommend, you can get on the Creality website a honeycomb base that perfectly fits to this machine. Now, the size of it, we've got 46 centimeters wide and about 34.5, maybe 0.7 when it comes to the depth. Okay, so I've got the software installed. I've plugged in the machine to my laptop. So now I'm just going to switch on the machine. As you can see, it does have LED lights inside. And to start with, it will actually start running the air pump, but after a few seconds that will switch off. As you can see, the view inside is absolutely fantastic. You can see exactly what is happening You can see how the project is coming to be with no issues whatsoever. Plus the glass on top, this plastic sheet, is protecting your eyes from the harmful rays of blue dot laser. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, so let's jump into my laptop. As you can see, this is the software. Over here we're on the canvas. You've got some options. As you can see, it's a fairly standard layout over here for a software, and already it did discover the Creality Falcon A1 10-watt module. Obviously it's already connected, and check this out. So for example, over here on the right you've got the materials and the correct settings that you can use straight away. Put in the thickness and the size, no issues at all. On top of it, how do you home it? Well, if you go just over here, you've got the ability to move the module itself, and if you press that in the middle, it will home the laser module to the place where you actually set it up. Okay, so you've got the grid there, and you can home it to any of that position depending on your settings. But now let's go to the camera view just over here. I'm going to press that, and it says it's connected, however it's uncalibrated. So we're going to go to camera calibration, and now our card goes inside to the locations that are dictated by the software itself. And as you've seen, that's a live feed from the camera as well. So this position, top left, get image, yes. Okay, now the middle. I'm gonna get the image. Now the far right. And you just carry on until you get all the photos sorted. When you do that, press next. And as you read the instructions, we need to put a wooden board that's no less than 200 by 200 millimeters in the center of the work area. Plus, you need to set up the focal point as I did show you earlier on. So I'm gonna put a piece of basswood just inside, like that. Okay, everything seems good, so I'm gonna start engraving. Now with that done, I can press the get image. Now what we need to do, as per instructions, we need to double click the center point according to the graphic number sequence to obtain the coordinate information. So I'm actually gonna zoom in a little bit and making sure I'm in the right position. I'm gonna click that, then number 2, and finally number 4. Okay. If you made any errors, you can right click it to cancel it. But for me, that's all done. So I'm going to press complete. And now our camera is fully calibrated. So now we can see exactly the work area we can utilize with our machine, and we can place our material and designs accordingly to the feed from our machine. Now, as you can see, the whole setup even of the camera is absolutely a doddle. The software will take you through it step by step. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to install the HONEYCOMB base, which fits absolutely perfectly inside. And now it's time to do all the tests that you were waiting for to see what this module and this machine is capable of doing. Now, this is 3mm plywood. It's not basswood, it's proper plywood. However, it is designed to work best with laser cutters and engravers. So if you are using normal grade plywood, the results may be a little bit different. However, I do encourage you to actually search online for plywood that is designated for laser cutting and engraving. Usually it's a lot cheaper and it will give you far better results. Trust me on that one. Okay, so let's do some testing. First of all, engraving test, and after that we'll do the cutting test. One after the other, and at the end we'll check the results. Now when it comes to engraving, the maximum speed for this machine is 10,000 millimeters per minute, so a fairly standard and solid speed there. So we're going to be checking from 2,000 right up to 10,000 millimeters per minute and going through 20% right up to 100% of power. Both of the tests are now fully completed, but before we actually going to have a look at the results, I just want to say one thing. I do have a inline extraction that's more or less connected to the fan outlet on the machine itself. And what I'm happy to report, there's absolutely no leakage of the fumes as the machine is working. And you know, we had cutting and engraving quite heavily, and there was no smoke coming through any part of the machine, which is a bonus. And on top of it, there is no smell at all. Okay, so the fan itself and the enclosure work absolutely brilliantly. But now let's have a look at the results. Okay, let's have a look at the engraving first. And there you go, that's the result. So 100% power, 2,000 millimeters per minute. It's super deep. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it, but that's almost went through. At 20% power, 10,000 millimeters per minute, which is the maximum speed, you can still have a fairly solid engraving. So we can see our Goldilocks zone just around here. That parameter there seems to be just fine. But overall, very solid performance for a 10-watt module. Now let's have a look at the cutting capabilities and check that out. 3mm plywood, no issues at all. We went through 80% power right up to 400 millimeters, and that's on the highest setting of the focal point. Tell you what, out of curiosity, I've got this 5mm plywood sheet. Let's have a look what type of results we can expect when cutting materials like these. Okay, so let's have a look how this machine managed with 5mm plywood. It's actually not bad at all. 200 millimeters per minute, right up to 80% power, no issues whatsoever. However, we can actually see some lines that almost went through. Okay, 300 millimeters per minute, 100% power, that almost went through. So from only 10-watt module, this is really good going. Now let's test the engraving quality. So now we're going to check the quality of the engraving capabilities of this machine, and there's nothing better than engraving a photo. The settings here I'm going to be using is 8,000 millimeters per minute, 100% power with 300 dpi, and I'm using Jarvis. Nice and deep engraved. To be fair, I probably went too much with the power. I could have gone with higher speed, for example 10,000 millimeters per minute, but look at that, the glasses, the eyes, and the shirt itself. Tell you what, that is one good 10-watt module. That looks phenomenal. Well, I have to say, engraving is also very high quality. Now let's try different types of materials. Great material to test out with a laser engraver like this one is slate. Okay, let's have a look what we can achieve with that material. The settings I'm going to be using to engrave this slate is 1000 millimeters per minute and 100% power. And check that out. Nice detail, very good, interesting look to it. And remember, this is 1000 millimeters per minute. You will get different type of color on slate if you use different settings. For the next test, I'm going to be using stainless steel. Now, I use this piece to test other lasers, but I still got a nice section right in the middle that we can actually test this machine out. And remember, this is only 10 watts. Now, I'm actually gonna go with the same settings as we did for the slate coaster. So 1000 millimeters per minute and 100% power. Right, you can see I've got a really nice graphic of a Viking that I want to engrave on the piece of steel. And I'm just going to be using the camera on the machine to easily and quickly establish the position of my graphic. Check that out. It's super accurate. and it's just such an upgrade on a normal laser without the camera. So easy to actually put your work where it needs to go. Right, so the settings here will be 1000 millimeters per minute and 100% power. Right, off we go. Okay, let's have a look at the results. Wow, quite interesting, very detailed, very nice job, I must say. Nice and dark, and that's only 1000 millimeters per minute. How about a product of some sort? Like, for example, this dog's name tag, okay? Made from metal, coated in this beautiful blue color. Let's have a look what we can do with that. The settings in this case, I'm gonna go for 700 millimeters per minute, 100% power. Okay, and check this out. Super nice and absolutely clean engraving. Look at that. Brilliant. How about a piece of leather? Some of you do work with leather and you can make some keychains, anything like that. So let's have a look. What's the engraving with leather like? Well, check that out. Leather, no issues at all. The settings here were 4000 millimeters per minute and only 40% power. And look at that, nice dark engraving on this piece of leather. It's actually quite a thick one. So yeah, if you're not a subscriber, you know what to do. And how about aluminium coated business cards? You know, they could be for you, or you can sell them to your potential customers. Let's have a look what settings we can use to actually get that done. Check that out. Absolutely gorgeous. Again, beautiful performance. Nice and crisp edges. Now, if you decide to use the software from Creality, the design space, and this machine, there is absolutely a fantastic feature you can use. So, check this out. Creality does offer materials for your projects, okay? They come in boxes like these, for example. So I've got some basswood over here, and they do come with these cards. So they've got a QR code and the type of material. In this case, it's 3mm basswood. And also, they do offer some acrylic sheets. And each sheet with different types of colors will have its own unique code, okay? So, check that out. I've got loads of these in here. So I'm gonna create a very interesting project with these and using the cards with the QR code to actually allow the system to give me the best settings for this particular material that the QR code represents. So check this out. I'm gonna put in my basswood right inside, and now I'm gonna put the corresponding card with the QR code inside like this. And in the software, we're gonna go to the camera tab, take a photo, and as you can see, we've got the material and our QR code. We're going to go to layers, okay? And at the minute, I've got purple mirror acrylic 3mm, which is not what we've got inside. But what you need to do, lift the lid just ever so slightly. There you go. The system actually automatically scans that QR code and gives you the exact information of what's inside. So I'm just going to apply that to the current layer and check that out. It automatically changed it to 3mm basswood board. How cool is that? And now, for example, if you want to change what the machine is supposed to be doing, like line cutting, it will automatically give you the best settings for the particular job. Absolutely brilliant. But for our project, we're going to need line cutting. So 350mm per minute, 100% power. Alright then, check out my cool design. So we're going to create a flower. The base, this one, will be cut out of the basswood. However, the outline and the inside will use the acrylic sheets that we've got from Creality. Alright, so this one I'm going to add another layer as I don't want to have this on output, so we need to change that to line. Whack it just in there. Okay, so that's our output, and that's it. Okay, so that's sorted. We've got our back, no issues at all. Look at that, beautifully cut out. Now I'm gonna put the green acrylic sheet, just like that. As it is 3mm, I don't have to set up the focal point for that. And yes, I'm just gonna use that to get the correct settings for this material. So I'm just gonna go to the camera. I'm gonna take the photo. So now let's go to the layers. We're gonna scan this by lifting the top slightly. There we go, 3mm green acrylic. Yes, check that out. Automatically changed it to what we needed. And now we're gonna go to line cutting. And there we go, straight away, perfect settings. 100mm per minute, 95% power. And the green acrylic is now cut out. And there you go. I'm just going to take off the protective cover. So now we've got the plywood base. And check this out. How cool is this? It looks absolutely awesome, the green acrylic. But now I'm going to do the same process with the red acrylic that will go right inside. That's our third cutout. So now it's time for the third part of this puzzle, the red acrylic, and I'm just going to follow the exact same steps. So give me a second and we're going to start putting this beautiful flower together. And check this out. I already started putting the red pieces. As you can see, even intricate pieces like this machine will cut it out with no issues at all. And best of all, in this particular case, it's a nice and friction fit as well. So everything fits perfectly. Check that out. I think that looks so cool with the acrylic pieces in different colors. Brings the whole project to life for sure. So the way I'm actually going to glue this onto the basswood back is just with a bit of CA. And just put a bit of weight on top of it and let it set for a few seconds. And check that out. I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. So we've got the back with the basswood and then everything cut out in the acrylic. I think it looks absolutely stunning. And all quite simply done by this machine. And as you can see, the process, you can't get any easier. You can order your materials from Creality. They come in a box like this. With the cards, there's no messing around. The machine will give you the best settings for these materials and just carry on with your project. It's a simple process, but it takes all the guesswork out of the equation. Now, before we're going to wrap this video up, I'm actually going to show you another safety feature that this machine has. So I'm going to start the machine. I'm just going to try to engrave some sort of a graphic on a piece of plywood. And one really great safety feature here, guys, is the fact that when you lift the lid, the machine will stop automatically, and as you can hear that buzzing, it will let you know that this has been opened. And you can resume from where it stopped and carry on with the engraving. How about the front? Same situation, absolutely fantastic safety features there. And one more absolutely fantastic feature of this tool is, if you can listen to it, it's dead quiet as it operates. Unless you've got a massive fan at the back like I do, that's going to be the only noise created. If you're going to be using just this machine with the ventilator that's at the back, that's the whole noise. There's no more noise at all. So this machine is perfect if, for example, you want to use it in your house. Obviously, make sure you do have the hose sticking through the window so the fumes go out, or in an office environment as well. There's no smell to it. As long as you've got the hose sticking outside, then yeah, absolutely fantastic solution. Plus, it's so safer to use it in an enclosure like this as well. And there you go, guys. We can have a normal conversation as the machine is working. There's no mega noise to actually get in the way. Overall, I'm actually quite surprised with the quality and the potential of that 10-watt module. It really tackled the cutting absolutely fine with the 5mm plywood. Actually, I'm quite surprised how well it did there. Plus acrylic, no issues at all. And as you can see, it engraves fabulously, especially the photo, absolutely brilliant quality. And the engravement capabilities of this machine, that's going to be the key here. With 10-watt module, the laser dot will be a lot smaller than more powerful lasers, and it will deliver far better results there. Plus the enclosure, everything, the quality is here. Creality really done a fantastic job. If you are interested in this machine, I will drop some links down below in the description of this video and in the pinned comment. However, I will also be making another video, a follow-up video to this one, where I'm actually going to be using this machine to create a very interesting project. So you will be able to see a real life project that this machine will be able to tackle. Now I just want to say a massive thank you to my Patreons for the ongoing support, and don't go just yet. Check out these playlists over here. Click on those and maybe you're gonna find your next video to watch. However, for today, that's all. Thank you so much. Take care.